Hey everyone. Last talk of the evening. I won't tire you out too much. Great crowd so far. You know how everyone complains about Nielsen ratings and like, oh man, who picks this stuff? Well, you guys are all in luck because each of you have about a 9% vote on whether or not this is a good talk. Thanks for Sasha to giving me this opportunity, and let me know. I actually had a hard time cutting down all the tangents into one talk, so if you have any questions, anything you'd like to see me elaborate on, please let me know after the talk, because I would love to keep giving this talk. So my name's Seth, but sometimes I'm known as the Rumham, which is my broadcast personality, but my rule is off camera, out of personality, so I'm just Seth today, although I found out it's being streamed, so maybe I should do a little bit of impressions and wrestling voices. I started off as a competitive gamer at a very young age. I was playing in world championships and national championships in like high school or so, and that's what really spurred my interest in game design. I've been very fortunate to work at companies like Zynga, Game Show Network, My Vegas, and most recently Scopely. I've worked on a wide spectrum of casual and casino games, some having 10 million players a month, others making $10 million a month, so I've had kind of a good range of what can be possible in the game industry. And I've seen firsthand what the power of celebrities and personalities can have on your game. I was on the Words with Friends team when Alec Baldwin got kicked off for playing Words with Friends, and this was just a huge boon to the game because suddenly it became, well, not only is Alec Baldwin playing it, so I'm aware of the game now, but it becomes this thing where you start, oh, did you hear Alec Baldwin got kicked off a plane? And then, oh, let's download this game together, and now you have two people playing when you didn't have that social connection before. I was working the social media as well at the time, and the team purposely egged this on, right? Once the people stopped reporting about Alec Baldwin getting kicked off a plane, let's release something to kind of keep them talking about it. It was a great filler for a lot of the Today Show sort of like segments, like, oh, in today's news, Zynga supports Alec Baldwin playing their game. Like, what a news break. But it gave us just a whole lot of organic installs that we couldn't really account for during this time. And in fact, Alec Baldwin may have never been kicked off a plane if it wasn't for John Mayer, because Words with Friends was actually a failing app for a long time until John Mayer, who had one of the most influential Twitter accounts at the time of Words with Friends released, tweeted, "Words with Friends is the new Twitter." And this was the installs, or the DAUs, after that point. So you can see meteoric growth comes from these personalities, these celebrities, these influencers. And as we move further and further into this digital YouTube age, celebrities aren't the kind of traditional media celebrities that we're familiar with. A lot of these are authentic YouTube and Twitch personalities. When I was at Scopely, we partnered with PewDiePie to help promote the Walking Dead Road to Survival launch, and it was very successful. The game hit #1 on the app chart. It was a part of a transmedia campaign, so it wasn't just PewDiePie, but he was a huge part of it. The video got millions of views, was shared around, and of course, if only one person sees it, who knows how many people they're telling. And that's really the crux of where I'm going to go with this talk, is that if there's one thing I've noticed across all genres and all games, is that, so I joined them. Like, I really like the broadcaster environment, so I joined them and I started making a YouTube channel and a Twitch streamer. I am one of the larger Clash Royale content creators right now. So when I was sitting in the earlier talks and people were speculating over whether or not Clash Royale is an esport, I certainly hope so, because I've been in a weird delusional fugue state for the last few months. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. The reason why I got into it is because from every game that I've played or worked on or been a fan of, people matter. Friends and social connections really matter just as much as the game mechanic. You know, you don't play games that your friends don't play. There's a reason why World of Warcraft was really sticky and all the other MMOs had a hard time stealing from them, is because if you left, you knew that all your friends were still playing World of Warcraft and you wanted to go hang out with them and see them again. Nobody would be going around in parks at 3 in the morning throwing Pokeballs at images unless they could show it to their friend the next day and talk about it in battle with someone else. If you're the only person playing a game that you know, you're not going to be playing that game for very long. And we've all had this. This is like doubly true for spending money. So I think we've all had the moment where you find a new game, you haven't spent any money on it yet, it's just a microtransaction game, you download it, but you get really into it, like a big, huge fan. You just go to your friends, you're like, guys, I love this game, it's the cream of the crop. And then your friends you talk them into playing and they pick it up and they go, woo, this game's great, brother. And you're just talking about it every day and what about this strategy? What about this? Oh, I just unlocked this thing. Oh yeah, I loved when I unlocked that thing. I beat this level. Oh, here's how you beat that level. And you keep talking and talking and talking about it until someone cracks. All right, I put $20 in the game. I'm gonna confess to you guys, I put $20 in the game. Oh, good, I've been wanting to spend money on this game, but I didn't want to cheat you guys. So now that you've spent money, I'll spend some money. We'll all spend money together. And next thing you know, your whole extended friend circle has spent $1,000 or more on a game. If you play League of Legends, this is probably true of you and your friends. If you play, vast majority of microtransaction games, there is, if not your group, there is a group of people who are like this, and these make up the customer base. And this can be like a lot of different things, right? It's not always just, these broadcasters and content creators are sort of additive friends to your friend circle. Whether it's strategic content like Day 9's StarCraft dailies, or it's the kind of silly, funny, and lucky moments that you see in Hearthstone, this is additive friends to your social circle that can keep you playing even if your friends aren't playing, or bridge the gap in times when maybe your friends aren't as into games as you normally would be. I would really not ignore the content creation part of community building, because increasingly as games become more of a service, people aren't playing multiple games at a time, they're just kind of playing one game at a time. Emily Greer of Congregate had a great presentation a few years ago where she showed the top spenders on the Congregate platform, and all of them, every single one of their top like 25 spenders had spent 60% or more on a single game. So the idea that there's these big whales who are going like $1,000 here, $1,000 here, $1,000 here is not true. There's these big people who spend $10,000 in one game, and that's it. So you really need to play for keeps on some of these games if you don't have the ability not just to be a fun game that you and your friends can play, but to meld into their lifestyle, to start penetrating their YouTube watching, their leisure time, the things that they read on Reddit and on the internet. You are not going to pull people away from the existing juggernauts that they're playing. And don't fall into the console trap either of like, oh, well, only 2% of people read forums. When I was in school, I was taught by people who come from EA and stuff, and they said, who cares about forums? Only 2% of people read forums. Well, that's easy to say when you've already gotten $60 out of every single person who's bought your game. You're not really trying to get money out of them. But when people start with zero, they need this content to get to the point where they're willing to really invest in your game. And besides, only like 1% to 2% of people in your game are spending money in the first place, so you really shouldn't be surprised if someone's going to spend $5,000 on your game. I'm mostly going to focus on broadcast, but I want to do one quick slide on text content. So Facebook, Reddit, and Instagram are actually shockingly good platforms for these various games. Facebook is much more casual focused. I think the casino games have a shockingly robust community on Facebook. These little old biddies sit together and talk about spinning slot reels, the best way to win at this machine, what's your favorite machine, oh man, I think this one's paying out more than usual. It's crazy how these people talk about, like slot machines and blackjack, like you can beat them in some way. Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes has been a consistent top 20 grossing game since it came out. And yeah, like Star Wars brand, right, that's gonna leverage it a lot. But what I've really been impressed with this team is they've invested heavily into their Reddit infrastructure, into their forums, into official wikis, so you can always look up stats for the different characters. If you ever get interested in like, oh, do I want to get Lando Calrissian? You just go do your research. It's all there for you. And then you pick up some other game, and if that's not there, it's hard to get into the strategy. It's hard to get into that part where you're building your teams in your head and theory crafting. And Covet Fashion did a great job. So Covet Fashion is a game that is 98% women, heavily focused on the fashion industry. Instagram has a huge fashion community of both professional and amateur fashionistas. And so Covet Fashion has become a pretty big presence on Instagram, and that just, it works for them. So while I'm going to be talking about broadcast, really be creative about where your audience is, what they're doing on their social media, and try to target those platforms. Because if you're like a casual game, then maybe Twitch isn't for you, but you might find it somewhere else. YouTube though, there's been this huge growth of fandom and making a career out of fandom over the last few years. I'm going to be focusing on gaming because obviously gaming casual connect, but this is true of anything like cooking, do it yourself, furniture building, like makeup tutorials. People are making careers all over the variety of things. And what I've found is that there is a huge overlap between making indie games or small free-to-play games and being a content creator. Channels are usually groups of 1 to 5, 10 people in a niche that they're really, really passionate about. Like, they started off as a hobby and then tried to make it a career. They're usually in a very top-heavy industry where there's only a few big dogs at anything. If your makeup tutorials, I can only watch so many makeup tutorials in a day. There's like 10 big makeup people. Same is true of games. Now, the nice thing is that each game is its own little tent. So for all the tents out there, there's usually a few juggernauts for each game. And every time a new game comes out, there's sort of this rush to be like the big person in that new game. The big thing they all struggle with, though, is discovery, just like all of us. You can work to improve the quality of your content, the quality of your videos. You can increase the retention and engagement of the people who find you, but it's really hard for people to find you. So the main broadcasting platforms that I'm going to focus on are, I kind of stack rank them here in terms of size and viability for a career. So Mobcrush and Camcord have really been focusing on the mobile market, and they're growing very quickly. Twitch is obviously a pretty big platform, and YouTube is just sort of the big daddy of them all. Like, even though Twitch is good and gets a lot of viewers, I think that if you are trying to make a career, you have to do YouTube, and then you use the other platforms to sort of supplement and add extra user acquisition to your YouTube channel. Yeah, really a lot of these are just based on personalities, and what's really interesting to me is that the genres still hold true. If somebody loves League of Legends, right, they want comedy, drama, tragedy, all within League of Legends. It's the thing they play every day. They're not playing 6 different games a day, they're playing 1. So who's providing this content to? Do you even know about your game? Do you even know who's out there making YouTube videos about your game? if it's good, is that really it's probably helping in a positive way, but if it's bad, that could even be hurt. Don't ignore it. Don't just assume it's all going to sort itself out. Really try to get involved with these creators and see what they're doing. And if you can find really good ones, highlight and elevate them. So we'll get into some numbers here. The biggest thing we always get asked, how many views you need to make money? Like what's the money making thing here on YouTube? I did some research. I asked around. A lot of people are obviously a little close to the vest with their finances. I'm not very big on YouTube, so I can't give you any of the big $1 million numbers. But from looking around some research and some good Quora answers, it seems like the baseline is about 1.5 million views turns into $2,000 of pre-tax income. So a lot of views, right? If you wanted to make $100K a year, have a good solid middle class salary, making games or making videos for the stuff you love, you need about 75 million views a month on YouTube. That is a ton, right? That is a huge amount of views on YouTube. It's very difficult to get there, and they'll often supplement it with other income, which we'll talk about later, but let's just use that as a baseline. So 75 million views a month in order to make 75 million views a year to make $100,000. So we'll talk about PewDiePie, who is both so important that I can't mention him and also such an outlier that he kind of isn't relevant for this. But let's just go over it real quick. He's the top paid YouTuber in the world, more so than all the do-it-yourself makeup cooking people. And he is what I would call a variety broadcaster. He doesn't stick to any one game. He does let's plays of a lot of different games. And as he got more and more popular, people wanted to know more about him, the person, and he started making videos about his lifestyle, like, oh, here's my car, here's my house, here's my whatever. This has become very popular. Now, viewers find all these broadcasters via the game, so these variety broadcasts, they hit a lot of different tent poles, so if you're ever searching like any game, they might come up, but they have to really rely on personality alone. Maybe more so, I would say more so than strategic content or being very in-depth on a single game. This is the last 2 weeks of PewDiePie's release schedule. So he's the biggest guy in the world, makes him $12 million a year. How are you going to do that? Well, he's releasing videos pretty much every day and sometimes twice a day. The last 2 weeks, he's released 18 videos, which I've done the napkin math for you. It's about 85 million views, so he's made about $114,000 off YouTube alone in the last 2 weeks, which averages out to about $3 million a year. It's only 25% of his income. So even the big YouTubers are still patchworking together a whole bunch of income from a lot of different sources. Most of them actually start a little bit smaller, where they focus on genres. So Markiplier is, like, I would say, the next tier down from PewDiePie. He's got about 13 million subscribers on YouTube, which is a fantastically huge number. And he focuses almost exclusively on horror and survival. His reaction, he's got very animated, very reactive to stuff. One of the biggest videos he's ever released was fans on his channel said, hey, play Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a $5 iPad game about a teddy bear, or it was a Steam game at the time. I don't think he would have picked this up on his own. I don't think he would have been scrolling through Steam and seen it, but all these fans were like, hey, please play this game. We want to see it. He makes the game. He gets scared, absolutely shitless, calls it the scariest game in years. The game gets 50 million views, or the video gets 50 million views, and Five Nights at Freddy's is now a franchise with 5 games on. Now, if you are making these premium $5 games, this is the best form of user acquisition you could possibly ask for, because you can't afford to do the sort of performance marketing where I'm going to pay $5 an install to get them to download a $6 game. It doesn't work for you. But if you can get free press like this, when someone was asking in the last talk, what could these small companies do? Let me tell you what you can do. You can get you and your 20 fans of your small little game to go spam these people's comments, say, hey, play this game, play this game, play this game, play this game. Because if even one of them pick it up, that is great for you, right? And I'm going to tell you, play dirty, make 27 YouTube accounts. Do anything you can to make this work. And these things can be the lottery ticket to going from unknown to known. Now, the next tier down from that, so we got Markiplier here at 14,000. The next tier down is, I'm going to focus on Clash Royale just because that's what I know. But I'll promise you that a vast number of games, I'd say maybe 50, 100 or more games or franchises can sustain YouTubers of this third tier. These guys get anywhere from like 250,000 to 3 million subscribers, and they tend to focus on just one game or a small set of games. So in this case, I'm going to focus on Gowden here. He does Clash of Clans, and now he does Clash Royale. Oh man, I'll go fast. All right, so every once in a while you get these great videos, right? Oh, I make a video, it gets 5 million views. That's great. That's a couple $1,000s. Well, I can see how that makes, I make $10,000 off a single video. That's great. But that's not sustainable income. That's not predictable or regular. So even these smaller content creators, well, we don't release stuff there's not that much info out there that quickly. So a lot of these guys are really struggling for content. They start to work in other things. They make silly videos, troll decks, how many skeletons can I get on the screen at a time? Let's watch my mom play the game. Let's teach my girlfriend how to play the game. Like, they don't know, they can't make 2 videos a day of reasonable content. This is my revenue breakdown. As you can see, the volume strategy kind of works. I tried doing it. I tried just releasing about a video a day. While there's a few that do a little better than the rest, volume seems to work. If you get a subscriber, just kind of like free-to-play games, there's probably the top 5, 10, 20% of your subscribers that will watch every single thing that you put out. It's better to just saturate those people with a lot of content than to be like, oh, I'm going to make 1 video a week and I just hope it's really good. And the problem is there's a lot of kickback against this. So this was actually an AMA of a big YouTuber for Clash Royale, and balance the pushback of your fans who don't necessarily want to be spammed with a bunch of nonsense content. What a lot of them do is things like affiliate marketing, where they make one video that's like, hey, here's how you get free gems or something, some really critical thing that they get asked a lot. But instead of, and it leads to some sort of affiliate link with whatever, and instead of having to release those regularly where people get mad and unsubscribe, you're spamming me with advertising, they just make one video and pin it to the top of the channel. So every single person, the first thing they see is this, and hopefully, even if it doesn't get that many views, the affiliate marketing leads to, more income. Others rely on paid subscriptions. This is big on Twitch, and now YouTube Gaming has it as well. This is definitely more than ad money. It's actually weird. If you can build really passionate fans, they will spend a surprising amount of money just to see you do things that they want you to see. So for example, subscribers can pay on Twitch $5 a month in order to get access to special emojis that you can make, streams that are subscriber only. Some really big streamers have their chat to only be subscriber only, so you can't even talk in the chat room unless you're a paid subscriber. I personally charge $5 to play people's decks on stream, oh, you want me to play your stupid Clash Royale deck? Give me $5, I'll play. I have made more money off that than my entire YouTube account. I had one individual who was a CEO of a web service company give me over $300 in a very short period of time just because and this seems to be true across the board because this was actually a big Twitch streamer named Destiny. He kind of revealed his finances in an interview, and he said that he makes about $5,000 a month solely off of the $3 split that he gets off of subscribers. So he has, several thousand subscribers, or more than 1,000 subscribers, that is ending up to be around $5,000 a month for him, which is obviously paying all the bills, whereas he only makes $1,000 a month off Twitch while streaming 80 hours a week to an average of 2,500 viewers. So Twitch ads are actually not making him money, but the Twitch viewers really are. And that's, of course, this is all great pie-in-the-sky stuff. If you're even seen, these are all ways to make money. If views are money, then the first million's the hardest. And this is where I think a lot of the broadcasters kind of get stuck in this failure to launch thing. The featured games are the only ones that are really drawing these big eyeballs. And if you notice, the platforms put the biggest games up front. Now, if you're a big game, if you're Overwatch, you don't have to do much. There are people just waiting to start playing Overwatch and making content for it. But if you're a medium or small size game, you're caught in a negative feedback loop. There's not enough viewers to justify a career. Then they don't make content for it. Your fans can't find strategy content. And they just get lost in the mix. And then even for the broadcasters, there's a discovery thing with the juggernauts. If you go search Clash Royale, a big YouTuber named Gaming with Molt has dominated the search results. Look at this. How are you even going to get discovered when a guy who makes 2 videos a day is the top 10 search results, right? So here's where you come in. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, yeah. So discovery is one more thing they struggle with. So they sometimes, Twitch and YouTubers, they do giveaways, gift cards, and a raffle. So tune in, and that's how they get a lot of viewers. Other times they use partner programs where it's us 5 big YouTubers will cross-promote to each other. But a lot of these are really scammy. They'll say, hey, we'll cross-promote to you for a percentage of your income. And a lot of these people are just amateur hobbyists or whatever. There's been horror stories of these people signing contracts with partnerships who then take 30% of their income in perpetuity, right? And that just totally undermines the entire thing they've ever done. Other people do view botting, where they basically pay pennies on the dollar to get just lots of fake bots watching their stream because it's all sorted by what the most viewed things are. So if I have 1,000 fake viewers, then I'm at the top of the search results and whatever. But these are all really sketchy, shady things, and it's all because they're desperate for discovery and promotion. So this is where you come in, generic logo company. You can get authentic promoters, near $0 community managers, and other strategic content creators, and all you really have to do is surprisingly little stuff once you can get someone to agree to work with you. You can provide them with access, you can give them sneak peeks. The woman in the panel had a really great point that sometimes developers are really close to the chest with their content. Oh, they don't want to see any bugs or any sneaky stuff. People, free content ideas, they're sitting here filming their mom and girlfriends playing the game. They don't have anything else to do. If you can give them early access, they'll make hype videos every single day up until your release because they have something new to talk about. Just give them access to stuff, and they will make the content for you, and you would be shocked at how much value they'll add to your company. And how hard is this really? How hard is it for Blizzard to make a JPEG and a link and put it in their launcher? How hard is it for a lot of these games just to put a link in a button? And here's the thing, is it's super easy for game developers and platforms, and it's huge for the actual content creators. These are my follows. The red dots are my normal streaming times. This was when Supercell gave me an in-app promotion. So you can see that the littlest, minorest effort on Supercell's part was the difference between me being able to make some YouTube videos and a lot of YouTube videos. And it's not just games. Mobcrush was up here. We had the Mobcrush CEO or something up here earlier. They recently, this is the last slide actually. So Gallon, who's a really big streamer I talked about earlier, Mobcrush said, hey, we're a mobile-focused platform. You're a mobile-focused YouTuber. Can you take your audience from YouTube to Mobcrush? Host a big stream, host a big tournament. We'll provide prizes. Just get those people over here. And when you actually message their tech support, what's going on? Why is the platform moving so slow? The response we got was, we've never seen a stream get a quarter of what Gallatin's doing right now. So that was a huge, great user acquisition thing for the platform, that could also work, for games and other things. So if I had to sum it up, it's the very simple 11 Ps. Procure passionate performers on popular platforms and provide pick players promotion and practical programming. Just kidding. Just enable them to make a living. Do what you can to solve their discovery problems, and they will do what they can to provide content, hype, and other promotion and user acquisition for your game.
Do YouTubers partner with game developers on a revenue share? Say, for example, game developer wants to split 50% revenue of whatever the YouTuber makes if the game is popular. So is that a good proposition for you, YouTuber?
I've seen things like that actually more in hiring the content creator for a different channel. So for example, I'm part of a tournament channel called Super Magical Cup, and we do a weekly Clash Royale tournament. So I make content for them and videos for them, and they get to keep the revenue, but then they, reimburse me and help with cross-promotion and stuff for my main channel. I do think that there'd be a possibility for that, but if you're gonna actually pay someone or do some sort of revenue split, you might just hire a full-time community manager. I think the value is that if you can find someone who's like, oh, I'd love to play your game, but I don't know how I'm gonna get viewers for it. It seems like I might make a bunch of videos and they're gonna get 300 views and I don't know what to do. But if the studio can say, hey, we'll help you out, you already buy installs. You buy installs at $5 a pop, and most of these people churn out anyways. If you can direct them to an external YouTube video that is more likely to bring them back, you're just making more out of your byproduct. You're taking this $5 install, you're making $1 for someone else over here, and they're in exchange feeding those people back into your game and keeping them more engaged and retained than normal. I think you could, but I think a lot of companies are probably risk adverse about just handing money to someone who's not an official employee or a contractor. But you can do a lot of non-financial compensation for them and let the YouTube platform, the advertising, and donators and all that handle the rest. Great parallel was when Blizzard and Cryptozoic wanted to compete with Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering, the real-life card game, they give out these huge cash prizes. Well, a new game can't give out huge cash prizes. So what Blizzard did was they made these scratch-off card codes where you can get special mounts and tabards and whatever, and those prizes they gave out in tournaments. Well, the card is inherently valueless until I can go on eBay and sell it for $1,000. So that was a way for Blizzard to eventually give out no money, right? Just game assets, the cost of an artist to make a Spectral Tiger, and they ended up getting thousands upon thousands of dollars game without actually having to hand them the direct money.